Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sweeney. I've been a player or coach for most of my life, and I understand the need to keep our kids motivated and safe. As a parent and coach, I also understand the need to make sure our children are protected. That's why insurance is as an important part of the game as a good coach is. I've known my fellow coach, Wayne Dietz, for 10 years. I've seen him motivate and inspire players both on and off the floor. I've also seen him make sure that our children are safe by making sure that the teams are properly insured. As a coach, we don't often think about insurance, and when you work with Wayne and his team at D&H Risk Solutions, you won't have to. They take care of everything with honesty and integrity so that you can focus on what you do best, coaching your team to victory.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Highland General Store, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Vernon Vibes. I always enjoy the time we spend together. We've got a lot of things to share with you this evening, so let's get right to it. Sunday, June the 8th, is Vernon Day. I can't believe that it's already here again. Another year has passed. But Vernon Day is always a great celebration of the people and the township. And so it starts at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning with a 5K race and a 1-mile walk, which is a fundraiser. That particular part of the program is under the auspices and the leadership of our Recreation and Community Development Coordinator, Melissa Weedbrock, who has, in fact, most recently gained a certain amount of notoriety for her very successful program called Couch to 5K. 3 years ago, when Melissa started the program, the number of people that participated was limited. I can tell you that since then, it has grown to a number somewhere in excess of 50 people who are participating, people who were not runners, who were not exercising, but in fact got off the couch and will be racing on Sunday, the 8th of June, in the 5K Vernon Day race. So for those of you who are interested, there's also a 1-mile walk. You can sign up. That starts at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. And we're due for some really beautiful weather. So if you're interested, come on out, do the 1-mile walk, help to raise funds for a good cause. And then from noon until 5, the Vernon Day celebration. This year we have new vendors. We also, as always, have the bounce house and the air slides and the things that are available for the children. And it's just one great time to come on out, spend a great day visiting with your neighbors, learning about the businesses in town. I know for a fact that many of the shopkeepers, the business owners who are now part of the Shop Vernon property tax credit card, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit about later, will be there. And there will be an Economic Development Advisory Committee table that will make it possible for those who haven't received cards in the mail to, in fact, get their Shop Vernon cards. So come on out. Support Vernon Day. It's always a great time. I'll look forward to seeing you there. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Highland General Store, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. I mentioned in the previous segment that I was going to talk to you a little bit about the Shop Vernon program. We're now 1 month into the Shop Vernon Property Tax Reward Card. And I can't tell you how proud and pleased I am with the results of this particular project. At the end of the month of May, 800 families in Vernon Township have registered their Shop Vernon cards. 800 families. I spent a good part of my life in marketing, and I can tell you that if you get a 5% response from any kind of business reply card or letter, you're doing great. At 800 families signing up, we are already over 10% of the cards that we sent out. And every single day here in the mayor's office, somebody stops by to say, I didn't get my card in the mail. Can I have one? The answer is yes. If you haven't received a Shop Vernon card in the mail, it's for one of two reasons. One, we have had, and I mentioned this before, a good number of letters that were sent out returned for incorrect address. So if you haven't received your card yet, call the mayor's office, speak to Mrs. Irene Mills, and she has those letters in alphabetical order here. She can check to see if in fact your letter came back and get the right address and send it on out to you. But barring that, if in fact that's not the situation and you want a card, just stop into the mayor's office. Irene will walk you through, show you how to do it, and you too can begin to participate in what has been an unbelievably successful launch. I mentioned in the last Vernon Vibes that Mr. DeFalco, the president and owner of FinCredit, which is the company that is actually administering this program, told me that of the communities that have a shop local card like ours, and we're the 7th in the state, ours was one of the most vibrant takeoffs. Well, here's some numbers for you to comprehend or contemplate. I mentioned 800 families. We also have had 4 new merchants join us, so that we now have 20 participating merchants in the Shop Vernon program, and there are more who have expressed interest and are exploring that at the present time. So the base of businesses is growing, and in the first month, the month of May, over $25,000 in purchases were made at participating Shop Vernon merchants where the card was used. $25,000 in the first month. Do your math. That's a significant increase. I've had the opportunity to talk to several of the shop owners who have told me to my face they never expected the response that they've gotten, and that it has been just unbelievably positive, and in some cases they're increasing the amount of discount rebate that they'll be paying into your tax account at Vernon Township because of the success of the program. So to the Vernon residents, keep it up, keep using that card. When you go into a shop, ask the shopkeeper, are you participating in the Shop Vernon card program? If not, encourage them to get involved, because the more local businesses that get involved, the more tax reduction you can experience. And to the businesses, if you haven't done it yet, you're missing out on an opportunity to see the kind of response that we've had, and it will only grow. I believe that when you look at your advertising dollars that you spend with newspapers and other vehicles versus the return on your investment, this is one that you can measure and measure directly, and it's very inexpensive to do. The cost of a sliding machine, a card slider, I believe is $160, and it costs you $10 a month to be part of the program that's paid to FinCredit. And whatever you decide that the discount rebate should be to go into the customer's tax account. So I want to encourage everyone, keep up the good work, keep using that card, and to the merchants who haven't signed up yet, I think you ought to look into it. I'll be back in just a minute.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Highland General Store, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Welcome back. This past Saturday, May 31st, I had the pleasure of attending the official groundbreaking for the Northern New Jersey Veterans Memorial Cemetery. And I want to tell you that I was impressed and to a large degree very, very pleased, because what we saw as the ground was broken for what will become a very, very important part of Sussex County and all of northern New Jersey for our veterans and their families, what we saw was what happens when people work together. As I stood in the crowd and listened to the people who spoke, from Senator Steve Oroho, County Clerk Jeff Parrott, U.S. Congressman Rodney Freelandheisen, Father John Boland, retired from St. Francis de Sales Church, the Reverend Ernie Koza, who we all know has served as chaplain for many of our civic organizations in the community. And then, of course, John Harrigan, the man who conceived the idea and began to work hard to bring it to to where it is today. You couldn't help but realize that it truly does take a community to accomplish something like this. Every one of the professionals, from attorney Kevin Kelly to planner Fred Soljek to engineer Joe Golden to the surveyors, and forgive me for not remembering their name, I apologize to those people, but every one of the people, of the professionals that were involved, donated their service. Not one of them charged a penny, as did so many of the other people who were involved in raising funds. And so I'm here to tell you, the ground has been broken. The cemetery is real, and it will happen. And so in order for it to happen, we need your support. Every single one of you who are watching this evening, please, when you have the opportunity, make a small donation to the Northern New Jersey Veterans Cemetery. I know that you'll feel good about it. It'll be a way of letting our veterans know that it's just not words when we tell them how important they are to us. If you'll do that, I'll appreciate it. And be watching for the fundraisers to come. The activity has to continue because it takes a lot of money to do what we're doing. So your support is important, and I know that our veterans and their families certainly will appreciate anything you can do to make this a success. Thank you. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Highland General Store, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. As I like to do, I would like to take a few minutes to review the latest Vernon Council meeting and the activities that took place there. That way you'll have some idea of what the real business of the town council was, as opposed to what you read in the funny papers. The most important thing that I want to share with you, of course, is that for the first time in 10 years, the Vernon Police Department, in fact, recognized and awarded to its members a number of awards for performance, life-saving, beyond the call of duty, all kinds of awards. It's been 10 years since that's happened in the Vernon Police Department. I can assure you that I was very proud to see that we had countless numbers of awards that were given to our officers, from the Detective Bureau right on through to the patrolmen, for things that you probably never even know occur, life-saving, rescuing, all kinds of work concerning the drug problem, a number of major inroads into the sale and distribution of illegal drugs in Vernon have been made recently. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that was pointed out during the award ceremony was that the new uniforms that you now see our police officers wearing were funded 100% from confiscated funds from drug busts. I think you know the law allows for confiscation of assets from convicted drug distributors and felons. Well, your policemen have been doing a great job, and that money is being used to, in fact, improve their working conditions and improve the equipment that they have. You may recall several editions back, I shared with you the plate reader, which is now mounted on one of our cruisers. That also was paid from confiscated funds. And I'm sure that as time goes on, there'll be more of that. And while I'm speaking to you, right now, as we're recording this program this morning, Miranda Mirador is graduating from the Morris County Police Academy. Miranda, in fact, will be joining the Vernon Township Police Department. She will go through 12 weeks of on-the-job training on the road with a mentor, senior member of the department, and we're pleased and proud to have Miranda join our force. I've spoken to you before about being able to hire a female officer. I'm aware that there are some people who think we don't have enough, but we have to follow civil service guidelines and hire those people who, in fact, test out on the state test. We're doing everything we can to address the need not only for female officers, but minority officers. Our community is changing, the demographics are changing, and therefore we want a police force that is reflective of the population of Vernon Township. So we were really proud of what took place. Chief Randy Mills and Captain Steve Moran did a phenomenal job, and if you have the opportunity to watch the Vernon Town Council meeting on SEC TV, I suggest you do. I think you'll be impressed with the kinds of awards, the number of awards, and the number of police officers who have, in fact, performed above and beyond the call of duty. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Highland General Store, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. I started the program talking about Vernon Day, and one of the other things that the council was active in doing was, in fact, voting a proclamation declaring Sunday, June 8th, as Vernon Day. So that was part of the program. In addition, the council approved unanimously the renewal of the LifeLock contract. You may recall that a year or so ago, we had a situation in which the personal information, including Social Security numbers, was released by our clerk inadvertently, not redacting the information electronically properly. And of course, you all will recall that it resulted in some aggressive legal action on the part of your mayor. There were those who criticized that, but to be frank with you, in the final outcome of that legal action, what the township contended and what I contended was absolutely true, that the people that had received that information, in fact, did distribute it to others, even though they shouldn't have. And so they were restrained by the court from distributing it any further and were made to certify that they had, in fact, deleted and erased that information from their computers. Nonetheless, having said all of that, myself and the people who are responsible to you and to the employees who work here decided that it was only fair that we protect our employees and we provide them with LifeLock protection at the cost of the township. This year it's somewhat reduced in price, but it's still $18,000 to do so. The council approved it, and in fact, the contract will go on. This will be the second year for it. Our commitment was to keep it in place for 5 years to our employees. We certainly intend to do that. In addition, I talked to you last time about an ordinance to amend Chapter 94 of our administrative code, which deals with the wording concerning the division of police. The major change is that the old ordinance referred to the manager as the individual that the chief of police reports to. Under this new form of government, it's the mayor. And so that ordinance was adopted on second reading. The verbiage has been changed and, in fact, is now reflective of how the system works. The police chief reports to the mayor. And lastly, the council and I discussed, along with Bill Zuckerman, our business administrator, and Elke Yetter, our CFO, our proposal for a bond issue for 2014. We, in fact, took the council through the entire bond issue, detailing for them where we plan to spend the money, how we plan to spend the money, what it is going to be used for. And at the end of that presentation, after answering all the questions and after the conversation was completed amongst the council members, by a 5-0 vote, the council directed this mayor to direct our bond counsel to prepare the ordinance necessary for presentation at the June 9th meeting. So if you're interested, come on out and hear about it. Once the ordinance is presented and adopted on first reading, at our next session of Vernon Vibes, I'll be more than happy to go through it with you and tell you exactly what we plan to do with the money. That being the case, that was the basis of the business of the council that evening. I'll be back in just a minute to wrap it up.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Highland General Store, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. You may recall in the last episode of Vernon Vibes, I had some rather unflattering things to say about the reporter for the New Jersey Herald. It's quite obvious that I touched a nerve, and I meant to. Just as a reaction for those of you who missed it, Mr. Jennings chose to write an editorial last Sunday about Vic Marotta and his show Vernon Vibes, labeling it Marotta Settles Scores with his TV program. Well, here's the interesting thing. Mr. Jennings in his editorial went on to speak about how I had related that a former friend of mine had written that the Vernon population was uninformed, and he took me to task in his editorial as to why I didn't either defend you, the people of Vernon, or agree with the person. I just made the comment and left it hang out there. Mr. Jennings, you missed the point completely. The people in Vernon are intelligent people, and they're capable of being informed if you do your job. That was the point of my comment. When you come to a meeting and there are 6 or 7 important business decisions that are made by the council, and you report that there was a birthday cake and what the cost of the birthday cake was, or when you come to a meeting and I present to the council the state of the township and your article deals with some other kind of fluff that has absolutely nothing to do with what's really going on in this township, or like you did in the meeting I took you to task on, where there was a presentation about the acquisition of Camp Sussex by our Environmental Commission, a very detailed and important presentation, as well as other business, and you chose to focus on whether or not Vernon's going to have a prayer at the beginning of their meeting. You just don't get it, Mr. Jennings. You just don't get it. And I don't know why, but I would just tell you again, publicly, your job as a reporter is to report the business of the township. You choose not to do that. That's your choice. I choose to criticize it, and I will continue to do that until you begin to write articles about the business of Vernon that takes place. If you did your job, I wouldn't have to be doing what I'm doing right now. And speaking of what I'm doing right now, about 2 months ago, someone, I don't know who yet, but I will, filed an ethics complaint against your mayor, and the ethics complaint contended that this TV program was somehow a violation of New Jersey state ethics law. I received this letter from the Department of Community Affairs, State of New Jersey, dated May 15th. Dear Mayor Murata, the purpose of this letter is to apprise you of the local finance board's final disposition of the above referenced complaint. The local government ethics law 40A:9-22.1 et seq. authorizes the local finance board to initiate, receive, hear, and review complaints and hold hearings with regard to possible violations of the local government ethics law. Upon receipt of a complaint against a local government officer or employee, the board determines if a complaint is within its jurisdiction, if it's frivolous, or has no reasonable factual base prior to the conducting of an investigation. You are hereby notified that a complaint was filed against you and has been dismissed. Ladies and gentlemen, that means that all of the verbiage and all of the background noise and all of the accusations about Vernon Vibes, all of the attempts by political adversaries to silence my voice do not violate the law, do not come into question ethically. That's what this determination is about. And I will know who filed that complaint, because in 30 days from the 15th, I'm entitled to know, and when I do, I'm going to tell you who. I have a real suspicion, but I'll wait until I have the facts. I'm just proud that this program has been brought to you in a way that informs you and in a way that is ethical, and I look forward to future time to spend with you again. I thank you for being with us. I look forward to seeing you on the next edition of Vernon Vibes.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Highland General Store, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sweeney. I've been a player or coach for most of my life, and I understand the need to keep our kids motivated and safe. As a parent and coach, I also understand the need to make sure our children are protected. That's why insurance is as an important part of the game as a good coach is. I've known my fellow coach, Wayne Dietz, for 10 years. I've seen him motivate and inspire players both on and off the floor. I've also seen him make sure that our children are safe by making sure that the teams are properly insured. As a coach, we don't often think about insurance, and when you work with Wayne and his team at D&H Risk Solutions, you won't have to. They take care of everything with honesty and integrity so that you can focus on what you do best, coaching your team to victory.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.